Proper high octane day of Test cricket at Lords there. England are 118 for 3 or 119 for 3. There's some confusion with that last with one run there. But England are trailing by either 245 or 246. We're still to get clarity on what the real score is finally at the end of day two. But it's been, like I said, high octane, high intensity Test cricket on day two of the Lords match. It's India were first, when they started day two, they were in a very good position, but they lost KL Rahul in the second ball of the day. Ajinkya Rahane then 2 wickets in the first seven deliveries. There was a brief partnership between Rishabh Pant and Ravindra Jadeja, setting India on the path for a good, reasonably good score in the first innings. Of course, they would have expected a lot more after the position they were in last night, but 364 is what India got. Finally, Rishabh Pant 37, Ravindra Jadeja 40. The tail did not wag, but India would have been happy with what they got eventually in these conditions. Again, batting hasn't been very difficult, but there have been some challenges because of the overcast conditions. England got off to a kind of start that they would have wanted to build on, but again, Mohammad Siraj broke through with two back-to-back wickets, those of Dom Sibley and Haseeb Hamid. Siraj was on a hat trick for a moment, and then there was this partnership between Rory Burns and Joe Root before Mohammad Shami uh, again brought India back in that contest when he dismissed Rory Burns for 49, and England had England have now gone to stumps at 118 or 119 for three. But more importantly, irrespective of that confusion about that one run, Joe Root is batting for England and he's got off to another fine start. The captain is just 2 runs short of a half century. He scored a half century in the first innings of the first test, got 100 in the second innings. He's been in phenomenal form. And of course, he troubled India a lot during the series at home as well, which India eventually won. But Joe Root was a class apart. He has been one of the top draw test batsmen in the world for the last several years now. He's just getting better and better. India's middle order has been a concern for a while. Cheteshwar Pujara, Virat Kohli, and Ajinkya Rahane. Ajinkya Rahane just he survived the tough phase last night, but got out in the first delivery he faced this morning. So that was not a great sight for India to see Ajinkya Rahane walk off so early. James Anderson, as usual, what a legend that man is! Just getting to his 31st five-wicket haul. He was just outstanding, wasn't he? Leading an inexperienced England bowling attack in the absence of Stuart Broad, but he had good company in Ollie Robinson, who also finished with 2 wickets, and then Mark Wood towards the end, picking up 2 wickets as well. So it's been a seesaw battle, really. India dominated the first day, England doing really well to bounce back. And remember, that's exactly what I spoke about in the pre-match show. Is can England fight back and could keep India under 400? And they did exactly that. Um, Before Siraj struck twice to rock that England board. Good partnership between Joe Root and Rory Burns, then Shami stepping in. It's been a fascinating period of Test cricket again between these two teams. It's never easy to come in and compete like this against England. India have done that. They were brilliant in the first Test match. It was very clear that it was their Test match to lose. They were in the driver's seat. England they needed only 157 runs on the final day before it was washed out and the match ended in a draw at Trent Bridge at Lords again. India still 245 runs ahead. England's middle order has also been wonky. It has also been wobbly, and there's some problems with that middle order. England would want the likes of Johnny Best or Josh Butler to lend some support to Joe Root. There's of course Moeen Ali as well in that mix, and Sam Curran. They can all bat. They can all bat, and they would really want to give Joe Root some support because India have a phenomenal bowling attack. Shardul Thakur was injured, and in came Ishant Sharma to replace the injured Thakur. No Ashwin there, and one of you just asked about the turn and there's some turn in the pitch, and there's some up and down with regards to bounce. Should India have played Ashwin? Look, it's the same question that a lot of people are asking, and I'm on board with a lot of other people saying Ashwin is the best spinner in the world, irrespective of conditions, unless they're completely in favor of seamers, completely see no chance for two spinners to play. You would want to play R. Ashwin. He is there sitting and warming the bench, the world's best off spinner. And I don't know, it's a little So it's a big that decision has raised some eyebrows, but again, Ishant Sharma is just such a clever craftsman with his experience as well. Hi, is Joe Root the best ever English batsman? Well, he's definitely up there. He's definitely one of the very best. You've seen how he's crossed milestone after milestone, doing so well for England over such a consistent period of time against the toughest opposition, and he scored runs everywhere. He's not only dominated India and England, if you look at the contest between these two teams, but he's also scored runs against India in India. So that is quite something for a batsman. It's of course now Joe Root has also moved past Van Gooch to become England's second highest run scorer in Test cricket. That is of course right behind Alistair Cook, and the way which and the rate at which he's scoring runs. It won't be long before he overtakes Alistair Cook, and he could, you have to say that he'd then be the best batsman for England in Test cricket. He's really done a lot in his career already. It seems just like the other day when he made his debut, um, and he's just come up. He's a class apart now when it comes to Test cricket. Just such a pleasure to watch. Joe Root is. Pritham Banerjee, future of Pujara and Rahane. Look, Sunil Gavaskar did mention that their lack of technical abilities there that's beginning to hurt the team. That's also, you'd want to look at other batsmen as well. There is Surya Kumar Yadav in that side. There is Prithvi Shaw. There is Hanuma Vihari, who has played in England. He's spent some time playing domestic cricket in England. So these are really worrying signs for India when your numbers three and number five are not performing consistently, not delivering runs. That's when you need them. Pujara yesterday, his dismissal, if you remember his dismissal, poking outside hard hands, outside the off stump, getting caught in the slip corner. Almost similar dismissal for Ajinkya Rahane. Was set up beautifully there. Those are very worrying signs. Will there be changes for the third test match? A little too early to say that yet. The second innings is still there, and but you'd want both these men to get runs. They are very good batsmen. They have scored runs in tough conditions. Do not forget Ajinkya Rahane's 120-14 when India last won at Lords. So everybody knows he's capable, but then again, you cannot rest on your past laurels. You have to get runs. There was poor shot selection from both Pujara and Rahane, and that has been the case for a while. We want these men to really pull their socks up and deliver. Will Anderson play all five Test matches? Gautam Kavadia is asking. England have, they do believe in that rotational policy, but you have to remember the other thing that he might have to play all these five test matches because there is no Stuart Broad for the series, which means James Anderson, there's a lot riding on him. And look at the rest of the England bowling attack. There is also no Ben Stokes. It's a very thin, wafer thin pace bowling attack. You saw what happened. James Anderson picking up 5 wickets, Ollie Robinson picking up those 2 wickets, but there was obviously Mark Wood finished with two as well, but the others did not look very threatening and very potent at all. So James Anderson will have to lead the bowling attack, and I suspect, of course, he will play the entire series, especially in the absence of Stuart Broad. In the rotational policy, what happens is you have Broad and Anderson play a couple of test matches together, then Broad leads the attack or Anderson leads the attack. They've rotated between the two. I don't see that happening in the series because there is no Stuart Broad. Well, that's that. Then England are still about 250 runs adrift of India. But good thing for them is that Joe Root is still at the crease. He has Johnny Best of a company. Then of course, there are likes of Moeen Ali to come in as well. Moeen Ali, George Butler, Sam Curran. So they're batting pretty deep with Johnny Best at five, Moeen Ali at six, Butler at seven, and Sam Curran at eight. So that's a very strong batting lineup at least on paper. Um, the likes of Dom Sibley, they've continued to disappoint. Roddy Burns, he got off to a start. He'll be disappointed with his dismissal for 49. Hasib Amin coming in to replace Zach Crawley was out for a first ball duck, a golden duck for him there. So the onus is, of course, now the senior pros. You need to come and help Joe Root build a substantial innings and then get that much needed lead in this test match. But whatever happens tomorrow, you can be rest assured it's going to be very high intensity test cricket. Both these teams are in a bit of a dogfight right now. You can see the passion there. Joe Root is at the crease, and India lost a couple of reviews. One of the first ones was, there was this instance when Joe Siraj struck Root on the pads soon after his double strike. You could clearly see from the naked eye the ball was headed down leg side. It would have missed the leg stump, but Siraj was convinced. The wicketkeeper Rishabh Pant and some of the other India players weren't convinced, but Virat Kohli went with Siraj's call and went for the DRS, and it was a very, very poor call, we'll have to say. You could see the ball was going to miss leg stump. It had pitched outside off, it was going to miss leg. So that's something we'll have to be careful about. And obviously, you can also understand where Virat Kohli is coming from. Joe Root's wicket is so important. But then again, you've been around the DRS for a long, long time. You've got to read that better. Definitely got to read that better. Nabanita Ghosh is asking, will Pujara play the third test at Headingley? Nabanita, I was just talking about that a few minutes back. It's too early to say what sort of decisions will be taken, but I think he's walking a very thin rope here because he's not scored runs for a while, Pujara, and not just overseas. You also look at his performance in India; it's not been the best. Yes, there was a couple of gutsy innings in Australia where he took blows on his body, where he was heroic with his efforts. But then, as a number three, you have to score runs. You have to score consistent runs. You have to score back full of runs, which hasn't happened from Chiteshwar Pujara. So you really want that to happen. Will he play the third Test match? It's again too early because there's a second innings to be played. You hope that the batsman gets some runs and really consolidate their position. This is really difficult for India to see the likes of Pujara and Rahane going through runs. And normally is also saying I don't think there's any replacement for Chiteshwar Pujara. I don't quite agree because you know when a batsman is not scoring runs, you don't necessarily look at his reputation from the past. You have batsmen in that mix. Of course, number three Chiteshwar Pujara has been synonymous with the India number three for several years now after he cemented his place with runs in Sri Lanka in 2015 and the world over, and especially in India for the next 5 or 6 years. But there is nobody's indispensable now. Bonita. There are some very talented batsmen in that lineup. There are some very talented batsmen in that lineup. Don't be surprised if there is a move. But again, hopefully get some runs in the second innings, or whether the India team management is also looking to give them one more chance in the third Test match. That is something we'll get to know obviously once this Test match is over and we get a feeling to what the management is thinking and what they're going to do for that third Test match. But obviously, the focus now is on the second Test match at Lords, day three. India's bowlers, they have been so good in Trent Bridge. They are looking all fired up here, especially Mohammad Siraj and Mohammad Shami. We all know when he gets that first wicket, he has his tail up. So it's going to be another very interesting day of Test cricket. Like it was important, like the first hour on day two was important for India. The first hour of day three will be equally important for England. Can they go through without any damage? Can India rock the England board further by getting rid of a couple of early batsmen? Joe Root will be their primary target for sure. Get rid of Joe Root, and you get a deep incision into the English batting lineup. A lot is going to happen on Saturday, the 14th of August, on day three of the Lord's Test between India and England. Till then, have a good night, and please do keep watching Sports Today. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Sports Today. There's plenty more coming up. Thank you so much for joining me so late at night. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your questions, and hope you have a very good weekend. Thank you so much.